Good afternoon, Steelers, and welcome to this Halloween special of a game of Arkham Horror, the card game, living card game. We mean to play this for a little while, and I thought what I'd do is I would play a game of the Carnivale of Horrors. Do let me know if you can't hear me. I think my microphone should be on and running quite nicely at this point. So let me know if it's silent and I shall sort it out if not. But anyway, Arkham Horror, the living card game, one of my favourite games and one I don't play often enough. I'm currently in the middle of a big campaign elsewhere, so I decided I wasn't going to play just a random game from a campaign. I thought I'd actually just play one of the standalone adventures that you can get, and this is Carnevale. I think it was either the first or the second one that was released. I can't remember if it was this or the Curse of the Ragaroo, which came first or second, but I recently bought this. I've been after it for a while and I only recently bought it, and I basically jumped in with basically starting this game up, and I'm using Winifred Habermoch, one of the newish investigators, the standalone investigators, and I decided I'm going to use her because I just want to try her out, see how she goes. She is an aviatrix, and just looking at her card here, we can see that she has one will. She also has 3 book, which is lore, I can't remember, for 3 combat and 5 agility. So she can jump about a lot, she can do a little bit of fighting, she can do a little bit of clue gathering, but she's not very good when it comes to fighting against the beasts of the mythos. But it says here fast. Her actions is fast if 2 different non-weakness cards you control are committed to this skill test. Draw 1 card, limit once per test. So that's basically just stacking her up really to get cards out. So that's probably what we're going to be doing. She also has an effect on the what's it called, the elder sign. It gives her a +1 after this test ends. For every 2 points you succeeded by, return a card you committed to this test to your hand. And she says I can top that. She takes 8 damage and 7 horror, so she's pretty good there from that point of view. And let's just have a little quick look at the back of her. It says Winifred Wirtho, as her parents knew her. Winnie to her friends was one of the smartest kids in a reservation school. However, her reckless attitude and lack of respect for authority meant she often got herself into trouble. The course of her life changed forever when she found a biplane in a farmer's garage. She decided to take it out for a spin. The owner, a farmer pilot in the Great War, was awestruck by her natural talent and offered to teach her what he knew. Now, Winnie is known as the Woman Without Fear, showing off her skills in barnstormers all across the country. That nickname will be tested when, during one of her shows, she spotted a creature that could scarcely describe, a thing with leathery wings and a strange mutated pus-filled eye. So there we are with the that's her background. So she's a relatively all-rounder, like I say. Basically, I've literally used her deck from the basic her basic deck thing. All I've done is when it comes to these standalone adventures, you can put in extra cards if you like, and I have done a little bit here. I've just added some in. The more you put in, the more weaknesses you take. So I just basically put in enough to not have to allow to add more weaknesses. So she's still got her basic weaknesses. So she's still pretty low from an experience point of view. So this would be a game that she would be playing halfway through, or probably early on in a campaign rather than anything else. One moment, just got to reply to a friend. And of course, I've had no text all day, and as soon as I start live streaming, people start texting me. So I've got her set up. I haven't pulled my card yet. I'm going to do that in a bit because we've got the game itself is all set up here, ready to go. And I am basically going to read out all the bits to you because it's the first time I played this game. So I'll read out the background so we know what we're supposed to be doing, then I'll draw her cards and we'll get started. So it says, the carnival is coming. Look, Sheriff Engel exists. I know it sounds crazy and that's really all there is to it. He sits and puts down, pouring a cup of Joe for you and one for himself. A dame in Uptown spotted a cracked egg wearing this mask and followed a bloody butcher's cleaver. He says, motioning to the black leather mask sitting on the desk. It has a comically long nose and a strange symbol scrawled in yellow on its forehead. So she calls it in. My boys and I picked him up on the corner of Stall and Garrison. The sheriff's jaw clenches and his brow furrows as he recounts the story. Fella did nothing but laugh as we slapped the bracelets on him, called himself Zanny, said nothing except the carnival is coming, whatever the hell that meant. Wasn't until the next day we found the victim's body. Defence wanted him in a straitjacket. We were happy to oblige. If you are watching this, do say hello. I can only see a couple of people, so I doubt many people are going to be tuning into this. But do say hello if you are there. There isn't much time to spare. If your research is right, there is more to this case than meets the eye. This Zanny wasn't talking about Dark's Carnival, but rather the Carnevale of Venice, which begins just before the next moon. So we've done all the setup. I've got my clarifications here. I'll just keep this to one side so I can take note of it. And then we move on to the agenda. So the agenda is saying, last minute ocean liner tickets from Boston to Italy set you back a fair bit of dough, but after a tense journey you arrive in Venice. The Carnivale has already begun. The street is in celebration. Colourful confetti rains from above, covering the streets. Many revellers throng in the Piazza San Marco, the square outside the Basilica. The parade is to begin shortly. You find the nearest uninformed Carabinieri and show him a copy of the symbol you transcribed from Zanny's mask. He pauses to decide your trustworthiness, nods and escorts you into the Basilica to see Abbess Algeria Dobiazza. Then we move on to the act. And on the act we have the Abbess addresses you privately. So you know what is coming. You nod. Then you know what must be done. They are using the celebration as a sacrifice for their wretched master. Bring as many innocents as you can here, when I can protect them. But beware, the creature's servants will try to blend into the crowd with their false masks. So it says, as an action, the investigators spend 1 clue per investigator, so that's only 1 for me. Look at the other side of a masked carnival goer at any location. And we've got a few of these scattered around the locations. And then objective, if there are a total of 3 innocent revellers underneath the act and or agenda decks, advance. So I need to find 3 innocent revellers and get them under the act. So in this game, all you can do is move clockwise, unless you have a characteristic that tells you otherwise. We start at the San Marco Basilica, and it says San Marco Basilica is connected to the location clockwise direction. You cannot help but marvel at the basilica's opulence and towering presence. If the piazza outside, revellers dance and celebrate, oblivious to their peril. We also have at the Basilica Abbess Algeria de Biazza, and she says as a fast action she can exhaust Abbess Algeria de Biazza, move from her location to a connecting location, or from her location to a location connected to it. Any investigator may trigger this ability. So she basically moves us around a little bit faster. Again, I do apologise. So before I flip that card, I'm going to pull my set of cards for Winnie, first of all. So I've already shuffled these, but I'm just going to give them a second shuffle anyway. We pull 5 of them. I decide if I want to keep them or if I want to mulligan them into something better. Well, let's see what we've got. I figure this is probably going to be a bit of a case of Winnie is going to have to do a bit of fighting if any of these masked carnival goers are people, or if they're enemies. We'll have to fight them. Because each one of these says spend a clue, flip the masked carnival goer. If the other side is an enemy, it attacks the investigator at its location. So there's going to be a bit of fighting. So let's see. We've got, first one is anything you can do, I can do better. That's a Winnie specific skill. Commit only to a task you are performing. Told you. And that gives her, wow, 6 extra abilities. She has Sneak By, Trick, Evade. When this action begins, gain 2 resources. That's pretty good, so she can grab a few resources out of that if we're getting low. We have Slip Away, which is an evade, it's an event. That costs 2. Add your book to your skill or investigate to your skill value for this evasion attempt. If you succeed by 2 or more, then the evade attempt is non-elite enemy. If the enemy is non-elite, it does not ready during the next upkeep phase. So that's actually pretty good. You can get away from someone. We've got another Sneak By, so that's another one to get some more resources. And then we also have here Lock Picks. So they're my 5 cards. Just put the little camera here so you can probably see some of those. Lock Picks, exhaust Lock Picks, investigate, add agility to your skill value for this investigation. Do not succeed by at least 2. Discard Lock Picks. That's pretty good actually, Lock Picks. That's what I need. Of those, I don't think there's a great deal of points in me keeping the Sneak By, so I'm going to mulligan that out. So I'll draw another one instead, and that is Reckless. That is a weakness flaw, so I'll just ignore that. It's another Lock Picks, and I'm going to keep that because it is very good. It's a good investigate, so you can so I can keep that as well. That is a really good one. Right, so now I shall reshuffle my deck. So I think that's a pretty good opening hand, to be honest, pretty strong. And I'll just put this to one side here. I'll be looking to get those lock picks into play as quick as possible. I think they'll be useful. Just rearrange things here so I've got my cards in front of me. And maybe, well, the other ones are, these are events and skills, so they will stay to one side, but I'll try and get those lock picks, or at least one of the lock picks, into hand straight away. So that's going to be very useful. So we said we start over here at the San Marco Basilica. So let's have a look. We've already read the front, so we read the back. I just pull this up so I can read it. It says the San Marco Basilica is connected to the location in the clockwise direction. And then, as an action, place an innocent reveller you control underneath the axe deck out of play. But I have to be there. So I've obviously got to pick these people up, go back to the Basilica, and then put them underneath. So it looks like I'm going to have to keep running around a bit. It's got a Shroud of 3, but no clues. So this is where we start. Investigator Phase, first of all. And I am starting. I've got 3 actions. First action is going to be straight away put lock picks into hand. So let's get that in there. Takes up a hand slot, so I'm going to put that in. So that's her first action. Second action. The other ones are events, so I'm going to kind of hang on to those, I think, at this point. Now, do I go to the Venetian Gardens? I'm going to need to do some investigating to get some clues to find some people. I've got to push forward, I think. So that's what I'm going to do. It says the Venetian Gardens is connected to the location of the clockworks. The parade's path meanders from the Carnivale and winds through a beautiful garden. Moonlight streams through the leaves, dappling the ancient marble statues. So, second action, move to there. We reveal it. Now this has 1 clue per investigator. So, stick a clue down on there. And it has a Shroud of 3. It says Venetian Gardens is connected to the location in the clockwise direction. 2 actions, spend 2 resources. Heal 2 horror. That's quite good. So I can get rid of horror there if I wanted to. The garden's quiet elegance stands in stark contrast to the raucous celebrations throughout the city. Okay. Well, I can see nobody is watching this, but we'll still play on. Who knows? Who cares? Somebody might drop in at some point. You never know. Okay, so we've got a Mass Carnival player there. I need to get, like I said, 3 of these innocents, but I also need to get this clue as well. So my last action is going to be investigate. And as an action, I can exhaust lockpicks, investigate, add your agility skill to this skill value for this investigation, and if you do not discard by at least 2, discard lockpicks. So we exhaust that. Her investigation is 3 anyway, added to the 5 of the agility, so we've got 8 against 3, so I'm winning it already on a 5v, an 8v3. So let's see what my card is. It's a 0, so I have passed it, and I have passed it by at least 2, so I don't have to discard lockpicks, and I can then take the clue. So that's cleared that area out at least, but that has ended Winnie's first turn. So we have done with Winnie. So the first thing to do now is to place a doom. We've got 8 turns before the agenda shifts on. So that was the first one. Then it's the enemy phase. Sorry, I did the enemy phase. I should do the reset phase. I forgot all this. Draw a card. Switchblade, which is fight. You succeed by 2 or more. This attack deals 1 damage. So useful. That's an asset, so I could put that in hand if I wanted to. And I'd get a new resource. 1 resource there. Flip her card back. So we're back on. Reset these. I should have. This is all the reset phase, so I should have done this before I put the doom down, but never mind. So then we draw our first encounter card, and it is Chaos in the Water. Hazard test 4 agility. Each investigator who controls an innocent reveler must also perform this skill test. Each investigator who fails takes 1 damage, which must be assigned to an innocent reveler first if able. Well, that's not nice, is it? So I've got to do a test of my agility. Is there anything else I could want to throw in on this? I don't think so. 5 against 4 and 1 up on it. I think there's probably a good chance that I'll pass this anyway, so let's just have a look. I can take a damage anyway, I don't mind. I'm not carrying anybody. It's not a big thing. It's an auto fail anyway, so I'm glad I didn't use anything. So I take a damage, discard that. There's my damage. I can take 8 damage, so I'm alright at the moment. So I've only got to make it through this one thing. Right, so we're back to Winnie's turn. Let's have a think about what she wants to do. She is, well, first of all, as a first action, 1 action, is she will spend a clue and flip this card. It is an ally, innocent reveler, excellent. As an action, parley test, investigate 2 to convince the reveler to follow you to safety. If you succeed, take control of the innocent reveler. Forced, when innocent reveler would be discarded, place it underneath the agenda deck out of play. Each investigator takes 1 horror. Okay, so that will probably build up, I'm assuming. The more dead people, the worse. And so, as a second action, I am going to try and parley with her. So I'm 3 against 2. I don't really want to throw anything into that. I'm 1 up on it. So I don't know if it's... Is it worthwhile? I don't want to use up my lockpicks just to talk to somebody. I'm going to try and beat it. So the test is 3 against 2 for me. If it was anything less, I'd probably not. And there's quite a few -1s in this at least. So let's have a look. That is a cultist. A cultist, reveal another token. If you fail this test, draw the top card of the encounter deck. So we'll draw another one. +1. Hey, I passed it. So the cultist goes back in. The innocent reveler is taken control of. So we'll put her to one side. So that was my second action. So I now have 1 more action. Tell you what. While I'm here, I'm going to put the switchblade into hand as well. It's an asset. I'm just going to put that there just for now. Just kind of hold on to it, and then that's Winnie's last action. So we've currently got. We're getting there. So I've got 1 of the 3 that I need. what I need to do then is probably walk my way around. So it's the reset phase, it's the enemy phase, there are no enemies. Reset phase, so we'll reset. Winnie, we take a new card. Reckless, basic weakness, flaw. Commit only to a test you are performing of any type that has no other cards committed to it. Other cards cannot be committed to this skill test. If the skill test fails, return this skill to your hand. Forced. If Reckless is in your hand at the end of your turn, reveal it and lose 2 resources. Let me just work this one out, as I've never come across this one before. It says, so commit only to a skill test you are performing of any type that has no other cards committed to it. Other cards cannot be committed to this skill test. So basically, I think the next skill test I do, I've got to basically use this up. And if it fails, I return it to my hand, so it's just going to keep cycling through. If Reckless is in your hand at the end of your turn, reveal it and lose 2 resources. Now, I don't think this counts as being in my hand because I've just drawn it now. Yeah, I suppose it does actually. Yes, it does. So I'm going to have to lose my 2 resources. But I did get a resource which I'd not got yet, so I've got at least 1 resource back. So I've got to get rid of Reckless by basically passing a relatively simple test. Let's see how easy these tests are when they come out. I hate it when that happens. Anyway, reset my 3 chips so I know where I am. Everything else is okay. So another Doom and encounter card. It is Acrid Miasma. Revelation. Attach to the nearest location in a clockwise direction with no acrid miasma. Forced. After an investigator enters attached location, he or she tests Will 2. If failed, that investigator must take 1 damage or 1 horror or resolve the Hunter keyword on each enemy in play. So that's the next one. And it's right where I was going to go to, the Academia Bridge. So that's useful for me. Again, straight away, this game, it just starts piling it on, doesn't it? So that was the Mythos phase. So now it's my turn again. So where do we go from here? Is there anything I can do? I can't put anything to my hand. I've basically just got to keep pushing forward, haven't I? And that's it. That's all I can do. So it says Academia Bridge. It is connected to the location in a clockwise direction. The long and narrow Ponte di Academia is one of only 4 bridges that span the Grand Canal. Many pairs of yellow eyes gaze on the building from the Academy's high windows, seemingly waiting for you to cross. So, first action, she's going to walk to the Academia Bridge. We have to do that forced action. And there is one clue per investigator here. So I'll put that down straight away. It says it's connected to the location in the clockwise direction. After you leave Academia Bridge, lose 2 resources. Great. But the other thing I've got to do as well is the forced action on the Acrid Miasma. After an investigator enters the attached location, he or she must test 2 brains, which is not great, and either take a damage or a horror, or resolve the Hunter keyword on an enemy in play. There are no enemies. I have to play my Reckless. Commit only to a skill test you are performing of any type that has no other cards committed to it. Other cards cannot be committed to this skill test. If this test fails, return this skill to your hand. Oh no, I get it. I can put it into any test that I'm doing, but I can't do it with, I get it. I don't have to put it into a skill test. I can put it in wherever I want, but if I fail that skill test, it's going to come back into my hand. So, right, well, I kind of want to avoid taking any damage, and I'm not going to. It's not going to happen, I don't think. Right, well, I'm just going to take the test and take the hit because it's 2 against 1, so I'm already on a -1. I need a +1. Or at least the Elder sign to pass this test. So let's have a look. 0. That would have been good for anything else, but not for this test. So I'd take a damage or a horror. So I'm going to take a horror for that. because the problem is if I'd have used this one, well, Reckless would have come back into my hand anyway. So that's I've done that at least. It's done. So now I'm going to investigate, and this time I am going to throw Reckless into it, but I can't put anything else in with it. I'm investigating on 3 against a 2, so I need to get Reckless out of my hand because I'll lose more resources by the end of the turn. So I need to pass this. I can't put anything. I cannot. Other cards cannot be committed to this skill test, so I can't put anything else in like the lockpicks. But I can at least just go -6. That's not happening, is it? So that's a failure on my thing. The Reckless goes back into hand. I'm going to do my last action is going to be the same. Investigate the Academia Bridge. 3 against 2. I'm looking for a 0, +1, -1, or anything more. -6 again. Right, so that's the end of my turn. So I'll flip her card over. We reset. There are no resets. I take a card. Daring Maneuver. Fast. Play when you would succeed at a skill test. Get +3 value for this test and draw a card. Okay, I'll put that in there. And then I guess a resource. However, at the end of the turn, if Reckless is in your hand at the end of your turn, reveal it and lose 2 resources. So it's in my hand. So I've lost those 2 resources. Right, Doom. This is all going really well so far. We'll just reset the card so we know. And the card is Mass Hysteria, Peril, Revelation. You must either take 2 damage or take each masked carnival goer, shuffle them so the investigators do not know which is which, and place 1 in each location, starting with the location clockwise from you. Masked carnival goer face up. Well, I'm going to take the Masked Carnival and just shuffle them and place them in. It doesn't say the ones that you control, it's just these ones. So I'm going to do that. Give these a good shuffle. I'm assuming that's because it you basically place them face down, I think. Yeah, so that's just mixing them up if you've already revealed some of these. So just put these back in. 1, 2. Because at this point I don't know what any of these people are anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to take that as a hit. So that's the Mass Hysteria gone. Everybody's running about in panic. And next up is I've done this before and I just wonder if anybody's actually watching me live or not. Let's just see. One moment. I know. It's plain. Wonder why nobody was interested in watching it. Fair enough. Well, I'm just going to play on my own then until someone turns up. Right. So we're back to her turn. Carry on, don't worry. Back to her turn, and well, I'm going to have to try to get that clue, and I'm going to have to chuck Reckless in. So I'm again going 3v1. Let's have a look. 3 versus 1. Yes, I passed it. So I take the clue. It says and it's a skill, so basically I can put that into the discard pile, so that's gone. Second action is now to spend that clue and flip this masked Carnivale goer. So, clue there, so let's see who we have. It is High Servant of the Order. These are aloof, humanoid, lodge elite. It's an enemy. Forced, when you look at Elizabetta Margro, using the ability on Act 1A, flip her to this side. Forced, when the Mythos Phase ends, place 1 Doom on Elizabetta Margro. So she is aloof, so she doesn't attack me. Well, let's have a look what it says. If the other side is an enemy, it attacks, investigates its investigation. So she does attack me, so it's a hit, 1 hit and 1 horror. So I'm on 2 for 2 at the moment. And it says, what does it say? Forced, when you look at Elizabetta Margro using the ability on Act 1A, flip her to this side. So when I look at her, Investigator spells 1 clue. Look at the other side for a masked Carnivale below 10. Ah, right. Oh, I misread that. It said I could actually look at the people at any location. I didn't realise that. Okay, so she ends up faced up anyway, but is also aloof, and we'll be adding Doom to our Doom number, and it will take me an action to engage her. So do I want to do that, or do I want to do something else with my last action? Because she's aloof, so she won't attack me. So yeah, I'm gonna draw a card. Whatever not. Daring maneuver. Fast. Play when you would succeed at a skill test. You get +3 value for this test, and then draw a card. So that's after something happens, and that's free. That's good. I'll stick that down there, and so that is the end of my turn. So I take another card. The Mauser C96 uses 5 ammo. I take a resource. That was my card. Take a resource. Everything else is reset. When the Mythos Phase ends, place a Doom on Elizabetta Margro. So it's actually afterwards. So that's not too bad at least. So we put 1 Doom there first of all. Then we draw a card. Let's have a look. Lost in Venice. Blunder. Peril. Revelation. You must either take 2 horror or move to the location across from you. How did you exactly end up here? Right, the one across from me is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's the Rialto Bridge. Shall I jump across there? I'll lose 2 resources. I'll also take 1 horror, 2 horror. That'll put me up to 4 horror. And then she's going to put Doom on stuff. Well, at least I'll get to explore the Rialto Bridge. Yeah, I'm going to go and explore the Rialto Bridge by using that. So I lose 2 horror because I've left the Academia Bridge. So I go to the Rialto Bridge. The Rialto Bridge says it's connected to the location clockwise. The Ponte di Rialto is the oldest bridge spanning the Grand Canal. It has endured for centuries, but even its stone may crumble should you fail. We flip it over. There is 1 clue. It's a shroud of 2. Rialto Bridge is connected to location. Forced. After you leave Rialto, lose an action. There is a clue there at least. So that's the end of the Mythos Phase. So at the end of the Mythos Phase, she gets a Doom on her. So that's banjacks me a little bit. And it's back to me now. At least I suppose I don't have to do... Well, I'd like to have dealt with her because she's pretty dodgy. But anyway, I don't have any resources, so I can't put anything to hand at the moment, any of my assets. First action though, I've got to keep up the momentum. I've got to keep going here. So I want to get on and try to get this clue to get this Carnivale goes. So my first action is 3 book test. And I do get the daring manoeuvre. I could play the daring manoeuvre as well, should I need it, if I succeed. So, boop, -6. No, I can't. So my second action is going to be, again, investigate on a 3v2. -6. Nearly said a naughty word then. And then finally, 3v2. Don't have any clues on me, unfortunately. Let's have a look. 3 versus 2. 0. Yes, I finally got that clue. So then we flip that over. She's done. Monster phase. And nothing is happening over here. She just gathers doom, which is always nice. And it's my reset phase then. So I'll take that back. Take new card, leather jacket. That's okay, that will help me out. So I'll take a resource. Flip my card back. Another doom goes on. We're now on 6 of 8. It's slowly closing in on us. As always the way with Arkham Horror. I'm assuming that people can hear me on this. Who knows, eh? Who can tell? I'm going to check again. Make sure people can. One moment. Yeah, you can. You can hear me. Well. Alright, you just obviously don't like Arkham Horror as much as I do. Well, it is what it is. So that was the end of all that. That was the Doom on, so it's now the Mythos phase. We have Chaos in the Water, Revelation, test Agility 4. Each investigator who controls an innocent reveler must also perform this skill test. Each investigator who fails takes a damage, which must be assigned to an innocent reveler first if able. Okay, so we do a skill test of... I've got 5v4. In this case, I am going to chuck in... Because I've got an innocent reveler, I don't want to fail this. So I'm going to probably use this daring manoeuvre. No, there's no point, is there? I'm going to use a Mauser. And no, I'm not. I'm going to use their sneak by. So that gives me a +2 on this. 2 on my 5, so that's 7 versus 4. There's obviously that -6 in there that keeps coming out. Let's have a look, see what else we got. 0. So that's past it, so we can get rid of that. Fantastic. The end of the Mythos phase. She has another doom on her, which doesn't push us past the doom threshold just yet. It will do when the Mythos phase comes round again, though, unfortunately. But at least I've got 2 turns now. So first turn is spend a clue to flip this. And it is Dom Lagario, Secret Servant, an enemy of course, and it attacks me with 2 damage. So let's just get that on there while I remember. So I'm now on 4 damage. While resolving the hunter keyword on Don Lagario, his location is connected to the location in the counterclockwise direction as well as the clockwise, so he will move through. He will engage me. He's not aloof, so he does engage me, but he is elite. So that was my first action. So I'm going to have to fight this guy. My fight is 3 against his 4. I've got a switchblade which I can shove into him at least. And is there anything else I can throw in? I've got anything you can do, I can do better. Which is quite good. Which will give me a +6. I've also got the daring manoeuvre, which gives me a +3 and a card as well. And what else can I use? I could chuck them. I could chuck the Mauser in on the leather jacket to fight him, to bring my things up. So I'm going to do that. Second action is I'm going to attack him using switchblade. Fight. If you succeed by 2 or more, this attack deals +1 damage. So we got the fight is 3 starting, 4, 5. I could put that daring manoeuvre in. So we're on 5 against 4. So I'm going to need I need a plus 1 here, or I also need a elder sign. So let's just see what we get. -1. But that means 5 against 4, so I still give him 1 damage. However, I could play daring manoeuvre. When you would succeed at a skill test, you get +3 value for this test and draw a card. So that gives him another damage. So we'll stick that on there. And I can draw another card, which is nimble. For each point the skill test succeeds by, after it resolves, you may immediately move to a connecting location to a maximum of 3 times. So she can run away. So I have 1 final action. And I'm going to do that again. I'm going to attack again, I think. This time I'm going to do anything you can do, I can do better, which gives me a 2, 4, 6 plus on my 3, so 9 against 4. 9v4, I'm on a 5 up. Skull, -2. Token has additional -1 for each innocent reveller under the agenda deck. There isn't any, so -2. I said it was 9, so 7 against 4. So that hits him. Switchblade, succeeded by 2 or more. This attack deals +2 damage, so that kills him. Gives me a victory point at least. So I'll put him to one side. So that was the end of her turn. Cleared at least 1 bad guy out. And that's the end of it, isn't it? Was there anything else I could do after that? No. That was it. Yeah, I got my nimble card out for the daring manoeuvre. Alright, so that's the end of her turn. So it's the reset turn. There is nobody to do anything, so I'll reset that. Reset there. We get a new resource, take a new card. New card is Pilfer. Investigate. This investigation uses agility instead of brains. If you succeed, discover 2 additional clues at your location. That's useful, but I'm only getting 1 clue at the moment to these locations, so we'll see how useful that is in this particular scenario. Right, it is the Doom turn, so we place a Doom on the agenda. 2, 4, 6 in total in play, so this does advance. And unfortunately she's going to have another one on her as well, so that's going to take her up to 3. But let's have a look at the advancement of the agenda. Oh great. Baleful Reveller. Humanoid cultist elite. Spawn the nearest location with no investigators, counterclockwise from the lead investigator. Hunter retaliate. Forced. After Baleful Reveller moves from the Hunter keyword, reveal a random token to Chaos Bag. If you reveal one of these symbols, resolve its Hunter keyword again. Limit once per round. So this moves. So it is counterclockwise from me. So that is at the canal side. There. Right. So that is going to move towards me and potentially twice towards me. But then our next bit of the agenda is the shadow of the eclipse. The clamour and celebration of the Carnivale has for the most part drowned out the terrors you've seen in the city. Until now. The sun vanishes behind the moon, a darkness overtakes the sky, there is a solitary cry and the sound of crashing water. Within moments, screams erupt through the city, and yet somehow you see revellers still celebrating with wide-crazed smiles. This has only got a limit of 3 on it, so basically at the end of my turn, and the next Doom phase, we are going to... that is going to get flipped, because she's still got 3 there, so this is not good. This is not good at all. So that was the Mythos phase. However, it says when the Mythos phase ends, place 1 Doom. Well, yeah, that's going to flip automatically at the end of the next Mythos phase. So that's great. So it's now draw a card. Lost in Venice. Peril. You must either take 2 horror or move to the location across from you. The location across from me is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It is actually there. So I've got a choice. Do I take 2 horror or go and deal with Elisabetta Magro? You know what? I'm going to go across there and I'm going to give her some hammer because I need to get rid of that doom. I think that's the thing I can do here. Right. So I am now. That was the investigator. Sorry, the Mythos phase done. Yeah, that 3 doom should have gone on just now. Right, first action. I am going to engage her. So she has a fight of 3. She only takes 4. She takes 4 damage. She has a fight of 3. I have a fight of 3. Is there anything I can throw in here that I could make that better? No, I haven't got anything really. The only thing I've got is a switchblade. I'll just stab her up with that really. So I'm just going to have to go 3 versus 3 and hope for a 0 or a +1 or a Elder Sign. Let's have a look. First one up. +1. Excellent. So that is, if I succeed by 2 or more, this attack deals +1 damage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in my daring manoeuvre. Play fast when you succeed at a skill test, get +3, and then also draw a card. So I draw the card of the lucky cigarette case, and I succeed at 3 or above, so that gives her 2 damage out of her 4. 1, 2. So I'm going to try that again. That was my second action. Third action, I'm going to try and stab her again. The only thing I've got is the lucky cigarette case, which I can draw a card. I could use that, but I don't have the. Well, I have the money for it. But nothing else I can throw into this fight, so it's 3v3. I'm not going to beat her this turn, but at least I can try. +1. So that would have been good if I'd got something else, but at least gives her another damage. So it's 3 on 3 there. So that's me done with her. And that's that turn finished. So it's the reset. Well, it's the enemy phase. The Hunter. Forced after Baleful Reveler moves from the Hunter keyword, reveal a random token. So he's going to move to here anyway. Reveal a token. -6. That's okay. So he doesn't move any further, just there. However, Elisabetta Magro attacks us, and it's 1 and 1. So now I'm on 3 horror, 5 damage out of 8. Swap that over for tidy up a bit. 3 and so 5 against 3 here, but at least I'll probably finish her off next turn with 1 action, and then I can get moving again. Now it's my turn. I take a resource, I take a new card, and it's another Mauser. That's going to be useful for attacking her. I can't really put it into hand, but I can attack her with it. And we are next. That's all that. It is the Mythos phase, so we place a Doom on the agenda. There's 3 already, so we flip the agenda as well. So agenda 2A flips. The shadow of the Eclipse is unrelenting. Throughout the city, a dull chant overtakes a screaming and chaos. Its language, ancient and morbid. Tentacles course through the canals from the south, weaving beneath bridges and trapping entire islands within their grasp. If there are 1 or more masked carnival goers in play, the lead investigator chooses one and flips it to its other side. If it is an innocent reveller, place it underneath the agenda deck. If there is still a masked carnival player in go, flip this agenda to its agenda 2A. Otherwise, advance to agenda 3A. So I've got to choose one of these, and then they will disappear. Right, so the one that's furthest away is this one here. Boop. And it says Salvatore Neri, Master of Illusions. Fist was question mark. He takes 3 damage, and his agility is question mark. Retaliate. Salvatore Neri's fight value is equal to the attacking investigator's base fight, and his evade value is equal to the evading investigator's base. However, he just hangs about up there. He's worth 1 victory. So if there is still a masked carnival in player, carnival goer in play, yes there is. There's quite a few in play here. So I'm going to stick with those for a second. And this, it says go back to Agenda 2A. So this is just going to keep tipping over then, isn't it? But because that flipped over, we can get rid of that Doom, I believe. But then at the end of the Mythos phase, we place another Doom on her. So now I've got to get rid of her, because every time it's just going to keep getting rid of these, flipping these revelers over, which I really don't want at this point. Okay. So that was the Mythos phase. This, oh god, Lost in Venice. I either take 2 horror or move to the location across from you. Well, she's going to give me damage and a horror, so I'm going to take the 2 horror, because if I move, she will move with me, but she will also give me damage. So I'm now on 5 horror, 5 hits. First action, stab her. I'm going to throw the Mauser in, so that gives me a fist of 4 against her 3. Have I got anything else I can put in there? No, I haven't. So my fist of 4 against her 3. Let's see what we get. We have -3. That's a 0, so that's a failure. I only need to hit her one more time, so another hit, another attack. This is 3 against 3 now. You hear the desperation in my voice at this point. 3v3, -4. Great. And then finally, last action is a tablet, and the tablet is -3. If you fail, deal 1 damage or 1 horror to the nearest innocent reveler in play. The nearest one in play is the one I control, so I'll give them a damage. And that's it. So, enemy turn. I thought I'd hopefully get rid of her at this point. Enemy turn is I take a damage and a horror. So I'm now on 6 and 6 on both of those. Let me just get rid of those. 6 on 6. 6 on 6. And this moves to the Streets of Venice. He stays where he is, Salvatore. So that was the enemy phase, so it's the reset phase. There are no resets. I do at least get a resource. Take another card. Lonnie Ritter, Feisty Mechanic. She costs 4. You get +1 fist. Exhaust Lonnie Ritter and spend 1 resource. Choose an item controlled by an investigator at your location and heal a damage from the asset and a horror from a Lonnie Ritter. Okay, so that's an ally I could use. I could throw that in if I wanted to. But that would get me another hit from the enemy that I'm engaged with at the moment. So I'll try to get rid of her and then put her in. Alright, next up, that was my reset phase. So it's the Doom agenda phase. So that goes on, but 3 of 3. I've got 3 Doom against the 3 Doom here. We flip it over. And I choose one and flip it over. If it's an innocent reveler, place it underneath the agenda deck. We've got a couple more over here. So let's have a look. This one here is an innocent reveler. So they go under the agenda deck. And there are still revelers in play. So I'm going to stick that one there. So that's, I've lost one already. Oh, this is not going good. I'm kind of be trapped in this one area, really. This is Arkham Horror for you. It's pretty good probably with 2 players, I think, this one. So you could both be running around. But let's just see. So that was the Doom phase. At the end of the Doom phase, she gets another Doom on her. So she's on 5 now. And then we draw our card. Next card is Writhing Appendage. Retaliate. Forced. After Writhing Appendage attacks you, discard a random card from your hand. Forced. When Writhing Appendage is defeated, if Nikdakwatha is in play, deal 1 damage to Nikdakwatha. Well, they're not, but they will attack me. They've got a fist of 2, take 2 damage, and have 4 agility. And deal 1 damage as well. And that's right. So I've got to get rid of these 2 now. I'm basically piled on by creatures. First action is, because I need to get rid of her because she's just going to soak up all these revelers. First action, attack her. 3 on 3. I've got nothing I can throw in unless I chuck some Ronnie Ritter in. So have a look. 3 on 3. -4. Ace. Second action. 3 on 3. That's reveal another token. If you fail this test, draw the top card of the encounter token. Let's have a look. What the token is 0. Hey, finally killed her. Right, the switchblade was useful. So goes into the victory display. I've got 2 victory at the moment. I've got 1 final action, which I'm going to attack the writhing appendage with, because why not? So I'm 3 against 2. Again, I can't throw anything else in, so looking for anything here. Hey, it's the elder sign. That is +1 effect. After this test ends, for every 2 points you succeed by, return a card you committed to this step by your hand. I didn't, so that's annoying. Fight, however, so I was 3 against 2, so I'm now 4 against 2. So I've succeeded by 2, so that's a +2 damage. So that's enough to kill the writhing appendage at least. So if nothing else, I've done that with the switchblade. So that's the end of Winnie's turn. At least I've got rid of all of that doom, because I just kept clamming everything up. Right, so the end of her turn is we take in reset, monster turn. Any of these move? Well, this one moves, the Baleful Reveler. That will move. It is a hunter. And you know what? I think I've been doing this wrong. It says after this doesn't actually say it's a hunter. So I'm assuming, and it says after it moves from the hunter keyword, reveal a random token. So I'm assuming it doesn't move until something triggers it to move. I'm guessing that's going to be like Agenda 3A, so I'm going to leave that there for now. That was at the canal side, wasn't it? That's where it was. So that's lessened it. I think I just misread that. So that was the thingy turn, wasn't it? That was the monster turn, because most of them are just hanging out where they are. Right, I am now onto the reset phase. So I take a resource, take a new card. Next card is Opportunist. Commit only to a skill test you're performing. If you succeed by 3 or more, return Opportunist to your hand after this test instead of discarding it. 2, 4, 6, 7. I've got 7 cards in hand. I have to discard if there's 8 or more. And it is now the Mythos phase. So 1 doom in place, and then I take a card. Mesmerize. Revelation. If there are no masked carnival goers at your location, Mesmerize gains surge. There are no masked carnival goers at my location, so it's a surge on that. Oh, it's a writhing appendage, so that just comes in here. So great, I've got to stab that up and get rid of that if I can this turn. I can use my Opportunist on this at least. So my first action is going to be to attack the writhing appendage. I will throw Opportunist in, give me a +1, so it's now 4 against 3. I'm not going to succeed it by 3 or more, so I'm just going to go for it. What are we on for? Sorry, 4 against 2. I need to beat this so I can get the switchblade giving its damage out. -3. No, that's a failure. Second action, just attacking normally. 3 on 3. Is it worthwhile me just trying to evade it? It doesn't do anything. Yeah, I think I'm going to just evade it, you know. try to evade it. So I'm going to use Nimble. 6. Each point you skill test succeeds by after resolves, you can move immediately to a connecting location to a maximum of 3 times. So I am now then 6 against 4. That's a skull. -2. This token has an additional -1 to each investigator underneath innocent reveler under the agenda deck. There is 1, so -3. 6 against 4. -3, so that's a 3. So I don't fail. I fail that, and it's a retaliate. So I should have taken a hit before, I think. Yes, he takes a hit before because I failed. And the second one. Let me just check if retaliate is if also, because that might lead to my defeat, I think, at this point. Let me just have a quick look at retaliate. Resource, retaliate. Fails a skill test while attacking a red enemy. After applying all results for that skill test, the enemy performs an attack. Does not perform. No, it's only when you're attacking, it's not when you're evading. So my last action is going to try to evade it again. At least this time it won't. So with this time we're on a 5 against 4. Should have thrown some more of these in there. 5v4. I've actually done it this time. So exhaust that. Right, so monster phase. So it's unexhausts and attack, and it comes back into contact with me again. I draw a card. Lucky cigarette case. Get a resource. And then we're on to the Doom agenda. So agenda phase. So that's 2 Doom now. Out of 3. And then a new card. Chaos in the Water. Revelation test. Agility 4. Each investigator who controls an innocent reveler must also perform a skill test. Each investigator who fails this takes 1 damage, which must be assigned to an innocent reveler. So 5 against 4. I don't want to lose that innocent reveler in this one, so I'm going to throw that in for pilfer. So 6 against 4. 6v4. That's a lump. -4. If you fail and Clunthid is in play, attacks you. No, it doesn't. I've failed. So that is dead. She is taken. When innocent reveler would be discarded, place it underneath the agenda deck out of play. Each investigator then takes 1 horror. So bam, you're gone in there. I take a horror, and I think 7. That is enough to knock me out. So I've lost. I got beaten at the Academia Bridge. So we go on to the do not read until the end of the scenario. And that's just taken me an hour to play. Good. If no resolution was reached, each investigator was defeated. You splutter awake as an oar gently taps your shoulder. Tutto bene. The gondolier holding the oar says with a concerned expression. You nod and drag yourself onto the docks from his gondola. Drenched and aching all over, the city is devastated. Most of the boats in the canal are wrecked, and the streets are covered not in confetti but in blood. Record that many were sacrificed to Carnivale during the Carnivale. Each investigator earns experience equal to the X value of each of the victory display, so that's 2 if I was carrying this on, and then move 1 innocent reveler from underneath the action deck to the agenda deck if available. Then proceed to additional rewards, page 11. In player order, each investigator may choose one of the more mask cards to add to his or her deck. Pantaloni, Mediconi, blah blah blah. If there are no innocent revelers underneath the act deck, and at least 1 agenda, proceed to the sacrifice made. And that's what happened, I think. Yes, there's no innocent revelers underneath the act deck, and at least 1 under the agenda deck. Yes, that's true. So we go on to the sacrifice made. Too many lives were lost during the eclipse to stop the machinations of Carniveale's servants. The beast has been fed, its minions empowered, and you find yourself hoping you don't live long enough to see the fallout of your failure. So we get a basic weakness and a monster added to their deck for the remainder of the campaign. We're not playing a campaign. And that's it. Game over, folks. That was the Carnivale of Horror. That was a good one, that. Not that I got very far. I managed to get 3-4 ways into this. I think I got stuck here really at the Academia Bridge. That was a problem, dealing with that creature, the one that turned up in the Revelers. I think you need to be a bit quicker. I probably should have just avoided them and just carried on instead of getting stuck fighting. But I enjoyed that. That was a first run through for me, so it's like a computer game, Arkham Horror. You never really know what's gonna happen in the first go through. So second time round, I'd know what to expect. Winifred was a good character. I'd be happy to use her again in something else. I quite like this deck that she's got. I'd be happy to build that up again. Maybe use this through another campaign at some point in the future. Probably, I don't know, maybe Innsmouth Conspiracy with her. See what happens with that. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching that. The few of you that did. This was just a bit of a jump to see if I could just have a game really of Carnivale of Horror. So I've enjoyed it at least. I hope you have. If you have, give it a like. If you haven't, give it a dislike. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next live stream. Thank you very much for watching.